They like me. They really like me. What it is, I'm Tyrus, and I'm in for the little guy, Gutfeld. He is a little guy because the lights are like burning me in the eyes because they're adjusted for someone who sees like this. So, I got spots. And it's the worst day to have spots because today is a big day. This is a big show. Kat, this is our 2-year anniversary show. Yeah, well, this marriage of the three of us isn't off to a great start with Greg forgetting it's our anniversary and running off to Germany to make art films like he's Lord Farquhar. Look at that. Yeah, you see it. Yep. Not my blue buttons. Anyways, thanks for nothing, Greg. No, but thank you, Greg, Kat, staff, team, and our amazing fans for making us number one. And let's not forget Gene, who does all the dancing and singing and annoying things. But we will not put the camera on him, not even for a second. That sounded like Greg. All right, now to the monologue. So if a coward dies 1,000 deaths and a soldier dies but once, how many times do they get to attempt to end them? In the case of those going after President Donald Trump, apparently they need 2 impeachments, 1 fake dossier, 2 years of Russian collusion, umpteen biased news networks, special counsels, and now 34 counts of the same crime. While they're at it, why not throw in some new charges on the table about how about attempting to build a wall without a permit? Let's write him a citation for tweeting after midnight. Heck, I'm pretty sure he framed Roger Rabbit. Or how about referring to himself as the big guy and using his son and his brother and business associates to take money from China and Ukraine? Oh, wait, no, I got confused. That's the current administration. My bad. But I figured if you're going to make it up, let's go full regalia. You know, kind of like Alvin Bragg is doing. After the arraignment, he refused to put a bow on it and specify the basis for the indictment. When asked why, he said, because I don't have to. I don't have to. I don't have to. That's what a whiny 4-year-old says when you ask them to eat their vegetables. I don't have to. I mean, did he stick his tongue out and skip away afterwards? Anyways, let's talk about the most hilarious thing that happened yesterday. Just hours after President Trump was arraigned, a federal appeals court ordered Stormy Daniels to pay him, I'm gonna say it again, to pay him over $120,000 in legal fees. And knowing Stormy, she'll probably have to pay it all with crumpled up $1 bills. It's money, it's still good. You never bought stuff when Grandma gave you the jar of coins? Come on, man. Well, hopefully you didn't go to the strip club with it. Cha-ching. No, all right. It was all over a 2018 defamation suit she filed against him that later was dismissed. So let me see if I can understand. While he's getting arrested for 34 of the same things and fingerprinted, somehow, he was still winning. This dude made money going to jail. Let's think about that for a second. Not just money, he made over $120,000. Most of us are looking for money, or relatives are money when we get arrested. This dude's making money. So I think there's hope for us all with that. Then, if that's not cool enough, he hops on a flight back to Mar-a-Lago and takes the mic for a half an hour and everyone tunes in. Even Lil Wayne was like, damn, okay, that's impressive. It's true, and during the speech, Trump cut right to it. First, he ripped the New York DA, Alvin Bragg. Granted, he's a pretty big target.
The only crime that I have committed is to fearlessly defend our nation from those who seek to destroy it. The criminal is the district attorney because he illegally leaked massive amounts of grand jury information for which he should be prosecuted, or at a minimum, he should resign.
I haven't seen tables turn that fast since Greg spilled his soup and fell off his booster seat. You were there. Then Trump kindly pointed out what pretty much everyone's been saying about the whole case.
Virtually everybody that has looked at this case, including rhinos and even hardcore Democrats, say there is no crime and that it should never have been brought. Never have been brought. Even people that aren't big fans have said it. They said this is not the right thing to do. It's an insult to our country, as the world is already laughing at us for so many other reasons.
Well, one of those reasons they might be laughing at us is because of this.
Let's get started. Mr. Fetterman, we're going to begin with you. What qualifies you to be a U.S. Senator? You have 60 seconds.
Hi. Good night, everybody.
Damn! Can we do that here? All right, good night. Killed it, Jamie. But Trump's right. Even CNN's like, yeah, there's not much there, but don't worry, we'll be there.
In terms of a case that's being brought against a former president, it's a little underwhelming. There's not an incredible new set of facts that we didn't know about publicly.
If this is the only pebble that gets thrown at Donald Trump, it's a very small pebble.
This is even weaker than I feared it would be, and I think it's easily subject to being dismissed or a quick acquittal for Trump.
To sum it up, this case is looking weaker than cat at a bowling alley, a bodybuilder's bowling alley. But the best part is Trump basically gave his own State of the Union address. He touched on the economy, the inflation, the war in Ukraine, China, and of course, Biden.
If you took the 5 worst presidents in the history of the United States and added them up, they would not have done near the destruction to our country as Joe Biden and the Biden administration have done.
So for the record, he's saying top 5 worst presidents of all time. Biden, 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 and Dylon. And if you didn't watch MTV, I'm not going to help you. I wonder what Joe thought of all that.
No. I'm not going to comment on any of that. Come on, man. I don't care about your monologue, Mr. King of Late Night. Greg Gutfeld, I'll take you down. I took down Corn Pop, I'll take you down. Why do you have the guts to come say that to my face, all right? All right, Mr. Greg Gutfeld. What's that? Oh, well, who's guest hosting? Oh. All right, never mind.
All right, let's welcome tonight's guest. She's something you rarely see these days. A skilled White House press secretary, co-host of Outnumbered, and the author of the new book, Serenity in the Storm, Kayleigh McEnany. His kids don't blame him for the divorce. They just blame him for his act. Actor, writer, and comedian, friend of mine, Jamie Lislow. And it was his idea for banks to give away free lollipops. Host of Making Money on Fox Business, the baddest suit game there is, Mr. Charles Payne. Her resume now includes author, TV star, and Boston market cashier. Fox News contributor, Kat Timpf. Kayleigh, just because you were the last press secretary of knowledge, if you were dealing with this right now, how would you be handling it? Would you, the not responding from the White House to something of this magnitude is grossly inappropriate, I feel.
I think it is super smart, and here's why. So Democrats are apparently gleeful right now. Dem strategists love Joe Biden in the White House versus the leading Republican being indicted. They're loving the contrast so much that Joe has pushed back his announcement date because he wants Republicans to totally and completely implode while he governs. So I think it's super smart not to respond conveniently. When did Karine Jean-Pierre announce her briefing? 1:30 p.m., the same time Trump is on his way to the courthouse. But Trump can get above this. He needs to beat the left at their game and say, you want to focus on me, but I'm going to focus on you, the American people. I'm not going to be distracted. I'm going to tell you about the greatest economy ever created in the history of man under me and my presidency, and the 5-time worst president of all time, Joe Biden. Draw that contrast, you beat the left at their game.
Yeah. Well, speaking of game, Mr. Payne, you've done it again. I mean, even in the tennis shoes. I mean, you're the reason why I don't wear suits to work, because if you can't go 10, you just can't go at all. From an economic standpoint, when we have all this inner fighting and division at the upper echelons of our government, does it have a trickle-down effect? Are we going to see that in the stock markets?
We're definitely seeing that sort of turmoil in the markets. We're seeing it in sentiment readings, all kinds of sentiment readings. There's a really, the disbelief or lack of faith in our institutions has crumbled big time, and it's crumbling even a lot more. I will say this about, with this whole fiasco or charade with President Trump. It's been a rocket booster. I mean, what, a CNN poll, 76%, and a CNN poll said it was political? Yeah. I mean, this is like, I don't know who was the architect of this thing, because I don't believe Alvin Bragg came up with it by himself.
No.
Right? Someone had to check off on this thing, right? They're like, yeah, go ahead. He's like, you sure? Yeah, go ahead. So whoever told him this was a smart idea, it has already backfired miserably. And somebody is sitting around second guessing, what do? We have actually made President Trump heroic to apolitical people. Not people who follow this closely, who watch all the networks, but just people who casually watch, say, this is nuts. Who would want this to happen? If this happened to someone in your family, if someone in your family was railroaded by the government, we would all be outraged. And I think it's backfired miserably on them. And all of these things are conspiring as our economy heads rapidly towards recession. The next 12 months going to be really tough for this administration.
Kat, Charles kind of hit on a point. Do you think they're going to make President Trump the first living, breathing martyr? Because that's kind of where this is going. I mean, they're trying everything.
Yeah, see, there's people who really hate Trump in a very special way, where they've actually turned it into an entire career and an entire identity. Yeah. And even these people coming out to say, this doesn't make any sense, this is going to be dismissed, or this is going to be an easy acquittal, means that they're having to go against their identity and the careers that we made. I mean, when's the last time we heard anything from Jeb Bush? Like, I missed that? I know. I was like, oh, yeah, that guy. Like, he's awoken from his sleep to say this of all of the things. And, Trump is somebody who's rich. Trump is somebody who's famous. He's been the president of the United States. All these unique accolades. And now they're kind of also giving him the power of being a victim on top of all of this. Because it's just so weak that even the people who hate him so much it runs through their veins have to say, this is really not going to happen this way. I just think it's obviously not going to fly. Everybody knows it, and he's got to be kind of happy about the way that it's all worked out. Shocked, probably even shocked.
For how fun is Trump? Come on, you guys. How much more entertaining? I just loved how my favorite thing about the speech was where he said, my biggest crime was, and then he said some awesome he did.
Yeah, it's like loving you too much.
Yes.
My biggest crime is I loved each and every one of you.
Yes.
Too much. Johnny in the first row.
Yes.
Bin Song in the third row. Like, yeah.
Isn't it like when you're in an interview and they go, what's your biggest weakness? And you go, having too many strengths. People hate that I have so many strengths.
Yeah.
I don't like to get paid money. I work too many hours. I saw the craziness outside New York today. If you walk around, I thought I saw Trump and his the whole all the cars and stuff. And it turned out Brian Stelter had just ordered from Uber Eats, and they were. It's
never over.
Do you know that? Do you know Biden thought he was getting arrested once? I guess they were like, sir, we need you to please step out of the car. And he was like, oh my God, am I arrested? And they're like, no, you're home. We do this every day. This is your house.
Because you know what? He's done that same smile every time they ask him something that's bad that's happened. It's the same.
Oh, yes. All the teeth showing.
What time is it?
It's like that emoji.
Yeah, it's like, I don't think, and we're giving him too much credit. You know, we're like, hey, he's being a smartass and he's smiling. No, that's the like, I'm lost smile and don't want to admit it to my wife. Like, no,
I couldn't agree more. I really, for real, lost faith in it when he started shaking hands with people that left a while ago. You know, like he would still shake hands. I was like, is he crossing over? Can he see ghosts? Is he like, good to see you, Grandma. We'll see you soon. How is it up there? It's just a theory.
I just remembered my question.
Okay.
All right, before we go, come see me live. I'll be in Houston April 23rd, Walhalla, South Carolina on May 4th and 5th, and I'll be in Biloxi, Mississippi. Visit my link tree and on my Instagram and Twitter for tickets.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.